People around the country are voting in record numbers. 150 million plus votes looks like a real possibility this year, and Texans are leading the way. Nearly 15 million Americans have already voted this year. Texas quickly moved to the top, with more than a million voters rushing to the polls on the first day of early voting. In Georgia, 224,000 people voted in the first 2 days of early voting. In Michigan, more than a million people have already voted. The number of people who have already voted now stands at roughly 10% of the 2016 electorate, and we still have 20 days to the election. And here is the best part. People have heard about your plan, Mr. President, and they are voting in record numbers, in person. They just didn't wait for November 3rd as you wanted. In Texas and Georgia, as of October 14th, 920,000 people voted in person, more than the 902,000 mail-in ballots that were returned. A red wave may or may not come on the election day on November 3rd, but it looks like the blue is already making waves in the early voting race. According to an analysis by Washington Post, Florida, Iowa, Maine, Kentucky, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania registered Democrats outnumbered Republicans 2 to 1 in early voting. Here is a map breaking development. Just like Pennsylvania did last week, making a clear break towards Biden, and which has become even more stronger in the last few days, Georgia has started to move towards Biden. In 2016, Trump won Georgia by only 5 points. Since then, Georgia has shown a lot of interest in reducing the gap between Democrats and Republicans. More than 352,000 people registered to vote in Georgia in the last 11 months. And that's a lot of people for a state where a little more than 4.1 million people voted in 2016. Many of the new voters registered in Georgia are young and people of color. The influx of people moving into Georgia, demographic changes in the state, all these things allowed Democratic candidate Stacey Abrams to lose the governor's race in Georgia by just 54,000 votes in 2018. A good candidate from the blue side will always have a chance to flip the state, and Biden has kept the race in Georgia tight for the past several months. As we near the finish line, things always move fast. First, it was Pennsylvania that moved from toss-up to lean Biden to strong Biden. Now Georgia has moved from toss-up to slightly favor Biden. The latest polls have Biden ahead of Trump by 1 point to 7 points, and the polls are not a nice set of outliers because polls that were taken since the start of October showed the race in Georgia moving slowly towards Biden. Not the complete flip that Pennsylvania did in the last 2-3 weeks, but more of a steady movement in favor of Biden. So please do understand, Biden is hardly spending in the state. So any movement without the candidate actually tilling the ground is great news, and Biden has no need to win Georgia to win the election. The movement only reinforces the fact that Trump is slipping in the Sun Belt states, traditionally Republican states. His standing with voters is producing a massive drag on down ballot candidates. Texas Senator John Cornyn saw his double-digit advantage slip to mid-single digits, and Georgia Senator David Perdue's high single-digit advantage has now all but vanished. Georgia has 2 Senate seats up for election this year, and if Trump loses the state, both the Senate seats could be lost by the GOP. That's 2 more headaches for Mitch McConnell, who is positioning himself as the only man who can protect Republican interests in Washington if Trump is voted out in November. Republicans are agreeing generally that Democrats now have a large early voting advantage, but keep repeating that a red wave will help them bridge the gap on November 3rd. And they do have a point, and it has happened in several races across the country, and it could happen this year as well. But here is the problem I have with their assessment. The red surge on election day will help Republicans reduce the gap, but how big is the gap going to be this year? We still have nearly 3 weeks left in the election, and we already have 10% of 2016 electorate exercising their right to vote. If more than 150 million people vote, if the turnout increases by double digits, how confident are Republicans that they will be able to turn out that many voters on the election day to reduce the Democratic early turnout advantage? Isn't that the reason why the GOP tries to put as many rules as possible to reduce the turnout? Like ordering to keep just 1 ballot drop box in every county, specifically designed to reduce turnouts in large populous counties in Texas? Isn't that the reason why California GOP set up fake ballot boxes? The higher the turnout goes, the harder it will become for Republicans to win. Because, hey, more than 50% disapprove this president's performance. So, if the entire country decides to vote 10 times, Donald Trump and his GOP will lose 10 times. Thanks for watching. If you like the content, please subscribe.